Hi, this is Kim from Dorothy's Daughter. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be very exciting and different. For the first time, I am going to be interviewing a guest on my channel, someone who I think you're going to be very excited to hear from. As you know, I've been a Love Notions ambassador for probably the last 3 or 4 years, and I love not only the patterns, but the people behind them. And today I am interviewing Tami from Love Notions. Tami is the head designer and founder of Love Notions, and I've taken a lot of your questions that you posted on the Facebook group and asked her some questions. All right, with that, let me get on with the interview. First, though, I want to just ask you to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. There's a little subscribe button down below, and then if you click that little bell, you'll be notified of when I post a new video, so you'll always be in the loop. Love Notions is a pattern company that's been around since 2014, and they have really risen to be one of the top companies, I believe, in the whole indie pattern world. So without further ado, here is my interview with Tami. You're my very first interview on my channel, so
Cool. I feel honored.
So I just wanted to, first of all, welcome you, the Dorothy's Daughter. You're not a stranger to us. We have a lot of people who love Notions patterns, and they know I do, so a lot of questions pop up on the Facebook group and in the comments of the videos, and I just know that everyone's just going to love hearing from you today. So maybe start with who you are and who Tessa is, and that demarcation between the two of you and what you each do.
Sure. Well, I'm Tami. I'm the owner and designer of Love Notions. I've been doing Love Notions since 2014. And for the first, 5 or 6 years, I was doing it all on my own. And running any business on your own is pretty pretty intense. But then Tessa, my sister, she moved into the area kind of. She was a school teacher, a high school honors English teacher. And so she's new in the area, and we are pretty close, and she needed something to keep her occupied. And so she was kind of learning how to sew. I was kind of helping her a little bit. And she's she's such a people person that I thought she would be perfect to do my marketing and to take that off my plate so I could expand a little bit and do more patterns, things like that, not have to worry about the marketing side of it. So I brought Tessa on. It's been, I would say, 4 or 5 years now that she's been working with me. She started as a contractor when she had just had her youngest, and she was trying not to go back to work and to the classroom. So this was like a natural step. And she's been doing it great ever since. I don't have to worry about that at all. I mean, it's so nice to have someone that I don't have to handhold or manage. I know she is very capable, and she's just like the right person for the job. So,
She's
but I
so
do all the she's awesome. She is my go-to right-hand person. Basically, she's my manager because she is that personality type that gets everything, keeps them going. So,
I
but I
love
do all the pattern design.
I love
Yeah.
that she can remind me to do something, as an ambassador without being rude. She's like, great. She can say,
She's
where is this? Do you have any plans of uploading that today?
yeah.
She's got a
She is
nice
my list person. She is so organized. She keeps everybody else around her organized. Yeah. It's sometimes it's like a hard line to walk because we're a business, so we treat it like a business, but we know our ambassadors aren't necessarily a business. So it is like a tightrope to walk of not like encroaching on people's time more than they want to do. But she's really good at that.
Yeah, you guys both are actually. So I have some questions that people posted on the Facebook group, so I'll just kind of go from there. And the first question that somebody posted, actually, she had group 6 questions, and I think they were all really good. She said, "What age did you learn to sew, and who taught you?"
I was probably 10-ish. Oftentimes we would go to my grandma and grandpa's house in Indiana, and I would spend a few weeks out of the summer with them. And I can remember one summer, my grandma is the just what you think of when you think of an Indiana farmer wife. That's who she was. They were on a farm and a cattle farm. They worked for Purdue. But she just did everything. She was more of a practical sewer. Like she had covers over all of her appliances, that kind of thing, like aprons and but she did clothing as well. And we thought one project that would be fun would be a pair of pajamas for me. I wish I still had them. I can still, I can still see in my head what they look like. They're like turquoise with little skinny, like orange pinstripes. And she's the first one who taught me to sew. My mom sews as well, but I was never, well, she was very busy, but also I was never one to take directions from my mom very well. So it was just easier for my grandma to teach me.
I
But
think.
yeah.
Um, well, and then this sort of ties in. Who are your sewing mentors? Are there particular people in the sewing world that you've learned a lot from?
Oh man, what a question. Well, for sure, my mom and my grandma. My mom is like a prolific quilter now. So she's like I can remember when we were younger, she made all the bridesmaids and flower girl dresses in one of my aunt's weddings, and she would make dresses for I have 3 sisters. She would make dresses for the 4 of us for pictures and things. And but she was obviously they didn't have digital patterns back then, but I can remember like the pattern packages, just pulling out all the tissue paper and cutting them out and everything. And she still is a very meticulous old school sewer. It kind of blows her mind what I do. But as far as like current day, I don't know. I really admire people like Closet Core and Hey June, the pattern people who kind of started around the same time I did with Love Notions. It's just so cool to see how far they've come. Just like kind of like alongside me, although I'm sure they have no second thoughts for me.
I don't know about that. I think they probably are living up to you as well. So, and then she just wanted to know if you've had any formal training, like in design or in sewing.
Not like formal, like as you would think of like going to a college class or anything. I was never one to I'm not a big student, like going in classrooms, sitting in classrooms. I do have my associate's degree, but I only did that because I wanted to get out of the house and start my life. And that was the fastest route to do that. I am a self-taught learner for sure. I started off with I'm not even sure if they're around anymore, but there is a pattern workshop, I think it's called. She started like right around the same time Love Notion started around 2014 with a digital course on how to use Adobe Illustrator and those programs to draft and grade and create your patterns. So that's how I got my feet wet into it. And since then, I am just like, I have the textbooks and everything that you would get if you went to a design school. I've got all those textbooks. I just find that's easier. And I am just a hands-on person. I'll just get on and like fiddle around and figure it out on my own. So nothing professional like that, but
awesome. It's so neat to see everyone's backgrounds are so different. What inspires your designs?
Pretty much whatever I'm wanting to wear myself, like what's missing in my closet. Because if I'm not excited about it, I have found that it won't get done. Like I won't have the initiative to see it to completion if I'm not excited about it. So it's just things that I'm interested in. I'm constantly online window shopping and seeing what people are wearing, and I follow a few like Instagram people, fashion people that are more of people who I would not see. I don't really focus on like the trendy younger things because I'm like in my mid 40s now, so that doesn't appeal to me. So I have found those kind of like midlife influencers who I really admire their style, and that's basically what inspires me.
Very cool. And what do you do when you're not sewing?
Um, I actually actual sewing is such a small part of what I do. But when I'm not working, I like to read. I've got a couple dogs that I'm obsessed with. I've also just recently started learning how to horseback ride. My husband and I went on a really amazing anniversary trip out to Montana where we went to like a dude ranch kind of place. And I got to ride so much. I just wanted to, it made me want to like learn how to do this right, you know. So we have some ranches around here in the Chicago suburbs of all places that I have found, and I've started learning how to do that. It's kind of a random thing to learn how to do in your mid 40s, but that's what it is.
Fun. Do
Um,
any of your children like to sew as well?
my daughter, she's almost 20. She lives in Tampa. She's in school. She can sew, but she's kind of like me where she doesn't like taking direction from me. So we never really, I showed her the basics and she just figured it out her own. So she used to make things like scrunchies and little things like that. My son, he's almost 17. He doesn't, no interest.
Will you have another in-person workshop anytime soon?
I don't have any plans for that at the moment. My motto is never say never. Um, when we did sign the lease on our workshop that we got in 2020, that was our initial thought. We thought we'll do our own in-person workshops. But since then, I just haven't had time. It's very time consuming. Even just like opening the shop up to have like local people come in, I wouldn't be able to like do my work while I have other people in the shop doing whatever they want to do, you know. I would have to hire someone, and I am just not at the point where I want to hire another person. So not at this point right now, but you never know.
All right. When another person asks, what is your favorite sewing machine?
Oh, I am a baby lock person. I've got a Bernina in my background, but I really do prefer baby lock, honestly. I have the baby lock Catherine, which has been replaced by the Brilliant, which is like the one machine I recommend someone who wants to do garment sewing. I just think it's a great machine that does everything that we need it to do. Um, I do have the Bernina, but that's for my home, and I what I do at home is mostly like quilting and playing around and stuff like that, not work related. So that the Bernina is good for like quilting kind of things, but the baby lock is what I prefer for garments for sure.
Um, what is your favorite type of garment to design?
Ooh, I just today finished a new pattern. I hadn't even told I told Tessa, and it came together so fast. It makes me like really prefer that. It's a dress and it also has a tunic version. It's just so simple. My favorite thing to do is something simple with like interest, you know, like a different kind of pocket design or something like that.
Sounds cool. Heard it here first.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear what that is. Um,
Yeah.
uh, what is your favorite and least favorite part of pattern drafting?
Mm. My favorite is like the initial design development phase of where I am like drawing it out, like sketching it out, finding my inspiration and like translating that to what I want to make it into. I really enjoy like using Illustrator and designing the pattern, the actual like style lines and things. I also really enjoy doing the illustrations of like the steps. Although recently I have found someone to help me with that because it can take a lot of time and I need to be developing more patterns. So I've been like piecing things out to get more help so I can produce more. So I have kind of had to like give that off to somebody else to some degree, but I do enjoy that. My least favorite, and it's not because of the people, but testing is
I was going
so
to
difficult
get
for
you that
me.
thing that would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be.
and it's not because of the people themselves, it's just the whole process. It's so hard to put something that you've put so much time and energy in and to receive the criticism, which I'm asking for. I want it. It's what makes the pattern good. But at the same time, it can be hard and you have to really like I have to really like separate myself from the process and the pattern.
Okay. The next question think is a really good one. She said, "What is your favorite method of getting past a task that is difficult for you?" Like she's saying, like if you're a beginner, getting past a zipper or getting past some task that you would either never done before or you find it really difficult. How do you make yourself do that?
Mhm. Yeah, I find this happening to me when I have a pattern design I want to create, but I don't understand the construction technique. So I have to figure it out. And the only way in my mind, it's all mindset. You just have to start. Just have to start, and it's gonna not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be great. It's not gonna be wearable, but just start. That sounds so like lame, but that's really what it is. It's just like once you start, have that momentum, things come and they get easier and they develop.
Mhm. Um, Another lady asked, "Do you enjoy doing the projector patterns? And if you do, what would you use to alter them? What program would you use?"
Um, I was a little resistant to the whole projector thing. I thought it was just a fad, and I thought it was way too techy for most people. I still think it is. Uh, so I don't really, I have no feelings about them one way or the other now. It's just something that's expected, so I make those files for people. Because I know, I definitely see the value. I still think it has a long way to come to be approachable for most people. So it's never something I would recommend to a beginner. I think that would just turn someone off for the most part. As far as alternate projector patterns, I am not the right person to ask that because I don't love, to be super honest, I don't love that people have the ability to alter my designs
Mm.
in a way that they could produce them themselves. So it's just a reality of what technology can do. So there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm probably never going to be the person to show you how to do it.
Good point. Have you ever considered doing like petite, tall versions of patterns?
Yeah, I definitely see the value in that. I am blanking now, but I think the Legatos has a petite option. So for pants, I can definitely see how that's super helpful. Um, there's just so many options and alterations out there. It's like you have to draw a line somewhere,
Mhm.
and so what we try to do is provide resources to teach people how to make their own adjustments so they
Mhm.
can do that on my patterns or anybody's patterns.
Right.
So it's more about, to me, giving them the knowledge of how to make that on anything.
Great. Um, when you upgrade the patterns, like we have been going through and upgrading them as far as sizing and stuff, I had one person ask me if there's any way you can label the pattern pieces as version 2 or updated 2024 or something like that, because she will get confused when she has the pieces from before and which one,
Yeah.
just something somebody threw
Yeah,
out.
I've heard that feedback before. I think the best thing to do is whenever someone's getting ready to sew up a new pattern or whatever, is download a fresh version from the website because the website will always have the most updated version. And delete what you have on your computer before you even do that, so you're not confused. Um, File names is kind of tricky because sometimes they can get mixed up. Some machines don't like hyphens or whatever. So I just haven't done that. Just because the most recent and version is on the website. But I
Mhm.
do have on the website, there is an errata section, a tab that will tell you all when the last thing was made. So I just think it's the easiest thing to do is delete what you have off your computer and download a new version. Yeah, and right now, there's the thought of going through all my 100+ patterns and all the files of doing that is just super overwhelming. So,
100 plus now. That's really amazing. I hadn't
yeah,
counted,
it
but
is.
a
It is
lot of
really.
patterns.
It
Um,
is.
so my next question is just a little bit of history. You kind of said it was 2014. How did you pick the name Love Notions?
It was kind of a play on the song like Love Potion number whatever. And my initial thought when I started this was each pattern would be a number instead of like a name. So it was going to be like Love Notions number one, two, whatever.
Which one?
I didn't really like follow through. But
Which one is 9? Love
I
Notions number
couldn't
9.
even tell you. Right, right, right. Yeah, so that's where it kind of came from, just like a little play on that song as well as like lo notions, or like sewing things. So, however, I if I could go back in time, I probably would name it something else because I have had, this is so funny. I have had husbands call me because they see a charge on their credit card and it says Love Notions and they think it's something a little spicy, like a
Oh,
lingerie shop or something like that.
oh, that's
Yes.
yeah. It could be
And when
problematic if you misspell it too.
yes, it could. And the other thing is, since when we opened up our shop, I didn't want to call it Love Notions because I was really afraid I was going to get foot traffic of people looking for something else. So we could just call it the workshop.
I
That's
love
where
it.
it came from.
It's that's very distinctive, the workshop. I really like that, just that you call it that.
Yeah.
It's very,
Hmm.
it's what you do. So, and then
Yep.
I know a little bit of how you do it, but can you go explain the process for naming and the musical terms? Where did that start? And just, I think a lot of the viewers probably don't know where all that comes from.
So all of our woven patterns have a musical term for the name, like legato, aria, cadence, harmony. And that just started because I have a musical background. I was in band throughout college. It was a huge part of like my who I am. And my kids, both my kids are also band kids. So I really appreciate like music and it's just also like a marketing thing. Again, like kind of, it's just easy when you are putting out a woven pattern, you're going to name it a term. It's just easier rather than using like a person name, like a lot of pattern companies do.
Mhm.
That's just it. Knits lately, I think the past like 3-ish years have all had names that are kind of cities and where I live and my location. Again, it was just like a gimmick of something, an easy thing for me to do, and it was different. So, like I live in New Lenox, so we have a Lenox pattern. I used to live in Joliet, so we have a Juliet pattern because everyone calls Joliet Juliet. And we have the Frankie Polo for Frankfurt, which is near us. We have the Wrigley Raglan for like the Wrigley Field in Chicago. There's just like a little tie to where our location is.
That's really cool. Um, and I guess just to wrap things up, is there anything you would like the viewers to know? Anything that um, makes Love Notions stand out from the rest? I know I could list about 1,000 things, but they already heard from me enough.
I think the thing that makes us stand out is our community and the ambassadors that we have. We just have the most supportive and encouraging people around us that I mean you could go anywhere for a t-shirt pattern, but people come to Love Notions and I think it's because it's a community.
Mhm.
So that's like that's my favorite thing about Love Notions.
Well said. Well said. Well, I think that about wraps up our interview. If you'd like to know more about Tami's patterns, you can always visit www.lovenotions.com. And if you go ahead and tune into one of my videos in the description of this video or on the Facebook group, you'll see an updated code that you can use for 10% off of most things. All right, have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.